Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle something that turns total chaos into, well, order. We're talking about process mapping. It's basically about creating a visual roadmap for how work actually gets done, not just how we think it does.
Okay, so let's start with a problem I bet you faced. Ever tried to explain a really complicated, multi-step task to someone new? Like training a colleague on a complex report or, heaven forbid, trying to explain how to put together that piece of IKEA furniture?
Yeah, it gets messy and fast, right? You end up with missteps, a ton of misunderstandings, just general confusion. There's got to be a better way to show the flow of work, not just tell somebody about it. And guess what? There is. It's called a process map.
All right, Section 1. What is a process map? Let's go from this abstract idea to something you can actually see. So, what exactly is one of these things? To really get a grip on it, we first need to talk about the word process itself.
Okay, so a process. At its core, it's really just a series of actions that turn some kind of input into an output. Think about a hotel kitchen. The input, that's the customer's order. The process is, well, everything. The chopping, the cooking, the plating, and the output, the delicious meal that lands on the table. Simple as that.
And that's where a process map comes in. It's also called a flowchart, and it's the tool that makes that entire flow, from the order to the meal, totally visible. It just takes all those separate steps and lays them out visually, so you get this crystal clear picture of how everything gets done, from A to Z.
Now, here's something that trips people up. The difference between a process and a project. It's really important. A project is a one-time thing, right? It has a clear start and a clear end, like building a brand new website. But a process, that's repetitive. It's ongoing. It's the engine that runs day in and day out, like the daily manufacturing of a product.
Okay, so Section 2. Why bother mapping processes? It sounds like work, right? But the power of having this clear picture, well, it provides some huge benefits for pretty much any team or organization.
So here's the bottom line. Process maps bring clarity, and that drives efficiency. It's that simple. They clearly define who's responsible for what, so there's no more finger-pointing. They help you spot those hidden bottlenecks, the ones you never even knew were slowing you down, and they are fantastic training tools for getting new people up to speed super fast.
And this is where it gets really powerful, especially for problem solving. When a workflow breaks down, you can stop the guessing game. With a good map, you can literally follow the flow and pinpoint the exact spot where things went wrong. It makes troubleshooting so much faster and way more effective. All right, next up. The basic building blocks. We're going to look at your first 3 symbols. So now that we know why we should be mapping, let's get into the how. And trust me, creating your first map is way easier than you think. You only need 3 basic symbols to get started.
So these symbols are pretty much universal. You've got the oval. That's your start and end point. Think of it as the bookends of your process. Then you have the rectangle. This is your workhorse. It represents any action or task that's being done. And finally, the arrow. It just shows the direction of the flow, guiding you from one step to the next. That's it. With just these 3 shapes, you can map out almost any basic process.
Moving on to Section 4, 6 steps to success. We're building your first map. So with those symbols in your back pocket, you're pretty much ready to build. You just need to follow this really straightforward 6-step framework to create a map that's both clear and accurate.
Okay, here we go. Step 1. Define your objective and scope. You've got to know where the map starts and where it ends. That's critical. 2. Brainstorm all the activities with your team. Get everyone involved. 3. Sequence those steps in a logical order. 4. Draw the actual map using those symbols we just talked about. And finally, and please don't skip this one, it's key, validate the map. That means you review it with everyone who's involved to make sure it's 100% accurate.
All right, Section 5, putting it all together. Let's move from simple steps to complex systems. It's time to see these principles in action, because these simple building blocks can scale from super basic tasks to incredibly complex systems.
A perfect example of a simple map: withdrawing cash from an ATM, right? You insert your card, you enter your PIN, you select the amount, take the cash, and grab your card. It's a clean, straightforward, totally linear flow. But those exact same building blocks can be used to map some really complex workflows. You can use a technique called swim lanes, and all that means is you draw horizontal lanes on your map, one for each team or department. This lets you visually see how a single process moves between different groups. You can literally watch a client request flow from, say, the operations team over to the research team and then back again. It's super powerful.
Okay, before we wrap up, I've got one last thing for you, and it is probably the single most important rule of process mapping. A map is only useful if it reflects reality. You have to be brutally honest and map the process as it truly is, warts and all, not the idealized version you wish it were.
So that leaves one last question for you. What process in your life could use a map? Think about it for a second. Maybe it's your morning routine, or how you plan a trip, or even just the recurring task at work. Just take a moment to visualize it. You might be surprised. You could just discover a better, faster, or smarter way to get it done.